I almost forgot. The conclusion of the last movie had this man's back becoming a basketball, creating a level of balance I didn't know the human body could achieve. But why in the hell did this man get out the back of that truck with a shovel? He did nothing to help lift this man up. Out there looking dumb as hell. Get your ass back in that van. If I was there, there's no way I'm allowing you to pull out a shovel. You see snow? Brain located in close proximity to the wrong cheeks. After putting Chev in the back of the van, the scene cuts to them removing his heart. Why? I guess the bigger question would be, why not? Just a little something to do. Now what I'd like to ask, the man had ashes dropped on his heart. Then Metalface hawked a loogie in his chest as if he needed some seasoning. Dead flicked a loogie 3 like he was Steph Curry if he was a nasty. Even had an instrument of operation stashed inside like a meat pocket, the more tidy option of the two human storage devices, the other being a prison pocket, what I like to call the hot pocket. And they went right back to doing what they were doing like nothing happened, talking about some ooh, ah, like this was their first time seeing a heart. Oh no, they were impressed by the fact they was holding Chev's heart. Now that's too heavy of glaze while y'all doing him this dirty, still in his heart, but not like a heartthrob, more like a heart rob. Sorry, I gotta stop with the goddamn puns. And then they started on ice, raw dog in the cold. That can't be the correct meta. The only beat from that heart you're gonna hear is to Omarion's icebox because it's gonna be frozen solid. Never mind, he's over here using his mouth to open bags mid-surgery. They are bullshit. Because why did they put an 8-cylinder engine in this man's chest? And they just kept further harassing him. Like damn, she caressed his chest, then took his temp, but not from his mouth. Another hole, known for talking shit. Damn, taking his heart wasn't enough. You need to take the bottom purity as well? You could have at least popped it in the mouth, under the tongue action. Not as good, but thorough enough. But I guess the movie's chaotic opening wasn't enough. More doctors walked in and they instantly get to talking about him like he was a supermarket. And they had a grocery list of other organs they wanted from him. So the heart wasn't enough? You needed more? This is the greed I be hearing about. And take a guess what the next organ they wanted. His pen is next on the list. Do you get it? His pen is next on the list. Listen to me. Why do you want that? You know the thing that can help write life into existence? Can you even transplant someone else's girth onto your own? I would have been heard about meat DLCs. What? Unless they exist. I don't know. And this freaky had the audacity to take a peek and smirk. It may be meat, but it didn't come with free samples. The entire time, Chez was awake, watching them have their Hannibal Lecter TED Talk. Decided he still needed his lower area, popped up and got to work. Instantly grabbing this, I want to say, doctor, jumped like he was a dumpster diver, and got to squeezing, making that fresh OJ that would make Jeffrey Dahmer want it even better. It was like Chez was turning up the radio and Mariah Carey was hitting high notes, the whistle octave. My guy was screaming, and the other doctor thought that the syringe he was holding boosted his strength and his competent attributes. It didn't. Arm moved, jaw moved, had him facing the other direction with a single punch, wrapped him up like a year on Spotify, and his top listen was lullaby music because he had him sleeping. And the other doctor followed suit like a game of spades and took a nap after a doses of night-night juice from the syringe. But the plot just kept cranking up. It hasn't hit 100 yet. Chet was fresh out the hospital, had to get himself a gun, and guess what? His Uber delivery was right on time. Made him see 5 stars. I meant to say, gave him 5 stars. And he didn't wait long to put that gun to use. His trigger finger must have been itching, so he used this NPC to scratch it. This time it was DoorDash. They arrived and upgraded his weaponry with a shotgun. Oh! This man held the element known as surprise as well, and some sort of fast fire rate machine gun. Rushed out the room like it was Christmas Day and got his Christmas gift of embarrassment and first class one-way ticket to the afterlife. And that was just the indicator of the talent housed in this NPC villain compound. Everybody that ran up got done up better than birthday makeup. Peep this big goofy buffoon. He brought a 6-shooter to a shootout and fumbled on the reload. Instead of taking the not needed weapon of his fallen comrade. He's dead. He don't need it. But I don't want to talk about what happened next. Talk about an eye for an eye. Chet went meat hole for meat hole and got his hole in one. That poor shotgun. Oh, that poor shotgun. I never knew you could feel bad for a gun, but I do. Just imagine it was alive like a Toy Story character. The amount of therapy needed to explain the darkness it experienced. Sure, like that's a reasonable next step, I guess. I wouldn't go there. A land many wouldn't want to travel. But Chev whipped it out like a tactic of interrogation to figure out what happened to his heart. Him and Carvel were twins of anarchy. I don't want no part of it. The shotgun puppeteered the name Johnny Vane in the social club out of the big dude's mouth. And with that, the plot continued to dig further into his chaotic storytelling. Chev had a heart that had a worse battery life than the iPhone SE, so he needed to charge up with his car before he escaped. Then he got in contact with his doctor from the last movie, who told him something so simple that we already knew. He needed to get his real heart back, and he only had 1 hour once the external battery on his stomach died, before the battery in his artificial heart dies as well. So he needed to keep himself wired like an Energizer bunny. Then not long after he received that information, he got thrown from his car, breaking the external battery. The writer was like, here, take some more chaos. There were too many words being shared for his liking, but hey, at least there was some concerned citizens in this chaotic world that gave him direction to the club he was looking for, and a jump, but not for his car. His heart, his nipple was used as a positive and his tongue as a negative, had the heart pumping and his legs moving as he made it to the club. It was an abandoned looking house that had excitement the moment he walked up. The rider had him run the line before he started writing lines. An aged woman came Kool-Aid Man in through a door, followed by an Akibono cosplayer who got chin checked by Chev. And I don't know what's happening in the first place, but it was like eviction season or something. More bodies flying than a commercial flight, but not all of them were whole. I saw pieces and not Candy, unless that had belonged to a nigga named Candy. And I guess they did have the heart in that building because this dude Metalface from the start of the movie came rushing out the house with it. Why was he carrying around that thing like identification? The only thing that identified was the fact that you are a freaky bastard. And he was too happy for the chase. The man has no friends. This had to be the first time he was playing tag with another participant and not his own demons that make him keep a heart close to his chest. And it wasn't his. He got inside a perfectly placed car. That car was just sitting there nice and ready for a getaway chase. And the driver looked like he was just written simply to drive. That's it. What's my lines? Nigga, just drive. Was he gonna sit there the entire time while Metalface partied Chev's heart out? And why was he so far away from the house? The club didn't valet parking? And what is with this movie and playing with balls as if it was like Mike but freakier? We cut back to the Asian Kool-Aid woman freshly up from her trip through the door. And what does she do to shake off the jet lag? Turn big boy peanuts into a fine butter, perfect for sandwiches, using a bike. At this point, I'm convinced this movie, or hell, scratch that, this entire world is a chaos simulation, because in perfect timing, more NPCs pull up to generate more carnage. This man started wigging on them like this one dude's hair, just mad wild. And she even roped Chev into the nonsense, dating him to be her boyfriend, and he was gonna beat their ass. I mean, let's be honest, he didn't really need to alley-oop into conflicts. That was his only goal, well, besides finding Johnny, because the first question he asked them was, "Where's Johnny Vang?" Which of course leads to the only reasonable response from all parties involved: chaos and some slap ass for the road, losing his potential lead. But don't worry, the writer got us. Wrapped tightly in a human-shaped instrument or anarchy, this woman, Rhea, she just so happened to be endowed with the knowledge of Johnny Vang's whereabouts. And after a GTA light transition and possibly a long walk, we experienced some GTA Online like antics, good old-fashioned carjacking. I mean, there was an attempt. Was it good? What do you determine as good? He wasn't successful, so I would personally say it wasn't good. He got himself out there looking like an amateur in front of Rhea. The only thing that was jacked was his back, and it was up from trying to cement surf. Never mind, she's too gone in the mind for that blunder to register in her mind. She was still caught up on the fact that he put that Akibono dude to sleep and he saved her. Yeah, no, go over there. But at least she pointed him to the right place, leading us to our next setting in very old school GTA fashion, a strip club. But let's be honest for a second, this is the red platform and not the orange one. Too much liberation was going on in there, so I'm gonna have to skip most of it. So once the camera stopped being so freaky and went into this back room, we see Johnny Vang getting his ass beat. He did all that running away in vain, all that to become another gang's victim. And Chev should feel like a star, the most beautiful girl at the ball. They were all doing this for him. They all wanted a taste of Chev. Damn, what did he do to be so desirable? Got people acting unusual, chopping off elbows, calling it sushi. That was just racism. Not even funny. It's an elbow, so it should be like elrow or eggbo, something creative, you know. Mr. Tattoo Face is just being flat racist. But we jump ahead a minute, and that's when Chev enters the establishment and sees his old girlfriend Eve, and damn near forgot the entire reason why he was there. He kissed her and said, "Come on, let's go." Let's go? He was about to leave. Like, I get it. I know you're excited you found your love, your heart, but you still need your real heart. But the chaos surely has a way of stirring up the plot. Because what happened? A shootout that I can't show. Too much orange platform behavior was going on. What if I make a mistake and free the nip in my video? YouTube would have me going like this. So after Johnny Vang escaped during the shootout and the other gang lost, Chev gets some answers from the remaining dude. Somebody else wants him. If this is fame, notoriety, I don't want it. In fact, I think I might fear it. I do not need to be desired like this. But hold on, it gets worse. After the work he just put in the club, winning the shootout on Dolo, he grabbed Eve and walked into an by the cops. They were using their batons as drumsticks, and Chev's body to recreate that one drumming sequence from In the Air Tonight, because boy did they raise their batons in the air to make a painful medley, until one of them made a mistake and tried to go Static Shock on him, giving him the spark he needed to do them bold like the first letter SpongeBob wrote on that paper. Man shrugged them off like he had Lester on speed dial and wasn't shy about beating their ass, using their taser as his secondary. Had one hit in the reverse worm, applied it under his arm like a speed stick, and it did its job because they were in a rush to hit the ground. Backhanded this one, and before you hit the road in one of their cruisers, you need to juice up some more. That's when we get to skip to our next point of plot progression. When this random stripper tells Chev that after almost getting bodied by Mr. Face Tat, Johnny for sure was going to go to the racetrack. But first, he had to make it there. And knowing this movie, it wasn't going to be as simple as punching the address into GPS. Nah, especially when he came across a random porn star strike. How did this even happen? Like, how do you want us help you make more money? They thought of dry humping the car. I thought y'all wanted more money. Now y'all fucking the car for free? I'm confused. Leading to him losing the police car he just stole and leaving Eve behind, who he just reunited with. But the chaos just kept on, chaosing. While running, he stumbled upon an Hassan Abi cosplayer just shocking their dog. And you know what happened? Chev stole the collar off the dog and started barking at the two men while begging them to shock him. And now it's shocking to me. Then he stole the remote because I guess there wasn't putting enough shock to his system. Then he left. That was strange. But the scene was still a little too normal for this movie, right? Don't worry, chaos left his mark. And that was with this dog eating this cop's birth sausage like it was Blue Buffalo. See, I told you. Chaos. And as if the buffet of disorder we were being served in the form of plot wasn't enough, we get some more and more. Chev was surrounded by the police, nowhere to go, when they allowed a random motorcycle to pull up with someone who definitely died in the last movie. Oh, okay, he did die. This is his twin brother. The police didn't watch as Chev got on the back of the motorcycle and rode off in the sunset as a passenger princess. That was weird, but still smooth. Oh wait, the chaos effect. He has full body Tourette's. Oh shit! Oh shit! And then they had the most calm conversation, as if they didn't crash, as if the police weren't a worry about avenging his brother's death, something Chev did in the last movie. This movie is a soap opera under the influence and guided by pandemonium. But hey, he made it to the racetrack, because that's exactly where the bikes crashed at. Just look at what the lack of having a heart is making Chev do. He is shimmying on a golden girl. This is not what they meant when they said thank you for being a friend. This is more being a fiend. And before he gathered enough friction from the old lady to make his heart really pump, he saw Johnny Vane, and it was in vain. He had no energy to give chase, and it led to more tumultuous madness in the form of public intimacy. But hey, we get another chase. I guess the bonding with this girl did wonders. Look at what he's doing. In a coma for 3 months, now he got super knees. Ever since his knees were met on a racetrack, chasing a car on foot and keeping up, even made it on top a few inches away from his heart that was surely broken in the cooler or suffering from heartburn from all that shaking. There's no way that thing in their pristine condition. At this point, the plot was just dominoes. Knock one over, and they all kept falling. But with non-stop events happening out of nowhere. Right after failing to get his heart, this nigga pulls up and tells him to get in. And why does this man keep following him? Go avenge your brother or something. Never mind, he got put out. Anyway, we get some lore dump about some old Chinese having a bad heart and want Chev's because in the last movie, he survived a powerful Chinese poison that made it seem like a god. So that's why he lost his heart. But why didn't they already transplant the heart in the old? Another question I got, not as important, why is Johnny given an organ shaking heart syndrome? Why don't they put it under lock and key until it's needed? I don't know, but what I do know is everybody's dead. Yeah, he killed them, because this one right here, the main one, I think from the last movie, was about to turn him over to the old for a reward. And Chev, he didn't want him to have to wait to receive a reward, so he gave him a lead tattoo to commemorate his achievement of ascending to the afterlife, then juiced himself with a power box. And then it hit me. This man is playing Infamous, having to keep recharging himself, but I'm guessing the 5 minutes of the movie that went by with minimal anarchy was unsettling, so they had to make up for it. How? The boss of the Fate Tats made him cut off his nipples because he failed to bring in Chev. Now that I have one less nipple, are you happier? Docking my pay would have been better, way better than taking my nipple. And why are they all watching him that intently, like their nipples are next on a chopping block, when dealing with the capture of a cockroach-like character such as Chev? This one looks genuinely concerned and fascinated. Never mind, it wasn't just one, he wanted both of them. Nah, at this point, I don't want to work for you anymore. Why do we have ops? You're my main op. And the GTA server known as the setting of this movie kept on spiraling, from Eve fighting her boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend. Randy was done in the worst way, to her getting arrested. Then we have Venus calling this freaky bastard from Mike and Molly. I don't want to talk about the way they reintroduced his character. It was like he was auditioning to be Diddy's understudy in the role known as Life. But Venus called Orlando, asking about the ferret, who Chev told him was the last one alive responsible for his brother's death. But just by looking at my watch while watching those scenes play out, I realized it's been a while since Chev did some dumb shit on screen. So he hopped in the back of a moving ambulance, seeing one of Donkin men still clinging to life, and told the EMT he was the one that did it to him, and upped metal on them so they could detect his seriousness. For whatever reason, he jumped in the ambulance. He was gonna get it, and get it he did. A brand new battery pack for his heart. But the pieces of Chaos puzzle just kept falling into place. Because what did Chev see from the ambulance window? Johnny Vane, just wandering the streets, perfect for an altercation. After a brief call with the doctor, keeping him in the loop, we get ignorance, random havoc, such as Rhea getting turned into Rio while he was trying to learn how to fly, and just like him, crash and hurt. But we have no time for that because it's walk down time now as Chev walked down Johnny and his men, taking no cover. Their aim was the wrong type of code. Was out there shooting like flight reacts, hitting nothing but the air. And if that wasn't a default feat, they probably would have missed that as well. Look, how's that even possible? He did it around the world with one bullet, bounced off everything but his target. Unless he was aiming to look like a fool. I mean, he did hit something. A callback to Dennis from the last movie. They brought him back so he could fall victim to chaos and incompetence. At this point, can we all? Let us all agree. Maybe the writers were playing in the powder room, and I'm not talking in the women's restroom. Because Chevs give chase until Johnny knocks him back first into a transformer, charging him up to produce further turmoil. And I told you, this man is just cold from Infamous. Man thought a cipher and the energy in his body enough to create some sort of domain expansion from JJK called Nightmares and Delusions, turning both Johnny and himself into Titan-sized beasts, hideous as hell. And they had the slowest fight I have ever seen. Yeah, the writers definitely had some mushroom pieces while concocting this story. But come to find out, Chev was just beating a symphony of pain into this man. Johnny had no fight back left until Chev got the cooler, opened it, and his heart was not in there. It was something stranger than his missing heart. His heart has long been transplanted to the old man. I did find it odd, like why were they waiting so long to do the open heart surgery? The old man had the heart and was cool and enjoying life, cruising down the street, making the best of his new heart. Even wanted to see if his new heart can handle some bedroom action, picking up the doctor's girl. Oh yeah, Chev got knocked up by no nipples and taken, giving us a bad baby Dr. Phil cutscene showing that Kev was a little demon. And if you ask me, that would be a fire TV show. Reminds me of Wayne a little bit. But while this man is living out a fantasy, the rest of the world has to live in chaos. The camera cuts to Venus, who's talking to Rhea, who somehow is still alive. And that's when we learn he's going with Orlando to find Ferret. And I guess Rhea joins them because she believes Chev's a boyfriend. And her quote-unquote boyfriend got his face-to-face with the ferret. And seeing the mustache, I can see why they call him that. And guess what? He's a brother to two Johnny killed in the last movie, Ricky and Alex Verona. But it's not Crank if we don't see anything freaky. And that's Ricky Head in a glass, still alive. And the reason he kept his brother alive was to watch him spank Chev. Now that's a strange kink. No shaming over here though. Whatever made the head float, am I right? It's just that the kink of whipping people, it cost him his marinated revenge. Couldn't even enjoy the flavors of getting even. Because what's the odds at the crux of the enjoyment, armed brigades storm your compound and turn your day of festivities into a symphony of gunfire and madness. All your plans up in smoke of a gun's barrel. Had the ferret living up to his name and scurrying away. And let me tell you, face tats, pepperoni, his own nipples for no reason. My guy didn't even live long after regardless. Just imagine being casket ready with no nipples. I mean, most likely he's gonna have a shirt on. But we know he has no nipples because he had to cut them off like they needed it for a pizza, the meat lover kind. And Venus was now embodying the role of a vengeful entity. He was walking down on Ferret, braving a storm of bullets around him like he was dressed for the chaotic winter, only to miss every shot. But what he didn't miss was his shot at some good old-fashioned melee. Pulled off some nunchucks, about to tailor the hell out of these two NPCs in front of him for their tucks of pain. But it's a shootout. Why do so many of these people have melee weapons? These machetes are not just in case type weapons. You bring these as primary use, and they weren't even good with them. First dude flipped from a spin kick, no fight, just acceptance. The other one stood there watching Venus's entire performance, entranced by the mating dance of pain and regret. And the crazy thing, Venus lost his nunchucks in a manner similar to how Pluto lost his planetary status. But the NPC still lost. He allowed himself to experience a Chris Benoit special, but the camera cut so abruptly from the chaos to a calm, not normal. The doctor's girl brought back the balls with Chev's heart to the apartment. In true backdoor fashion, the doctor was there waiting with Mountain Dew to do him dirty. But let's just say we needed the calm. Because after that brief cutscene, we come back to Chev and he's putting ahead with tubes into the pool like a field goal. Then Ferret was about to go feral and put Chev down, putting it into his strangely not far-fetched legend until Venus made his intent of revenge known and speared Ferret into a one-on-one. He shouldn't have done that. He saved Chev. Now he was gonna have to save her an ass whooping. dipped down, loaded up, marinated in anticipated disrespect. Then bam! The slickest backhand slick back with dream about. Had Venus Ric Flair walking away from the idea of revenge, deducting all the charisma he earned from his previous dubs. Because look at Ferret on the walk down, just embarrassing him. And the movie had no goal of taking a breather, because woven in between the beating Venus was receiving, Chev, aka Cole, was out of juice and no store could replenish it better than a power pole. Had that man back ablaze, full-fledged Cyndaquil, and that was just what he needed for this quick and powered beating he gave Ferret. He even slipped in a wedgie before making him swim with the fishes. But what was that ending? He was standing there like he was Johnny Storm, the Ghost Rider. You are not supposed to be on fire. So even though at the end he got his heart back, Mr. Deadpool here is gonna need a skin graft to go with it. If you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.